Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Carers World Radio, broadcasting on the internet at carersworldradio.com. I'm Tom Magner.
And I'm Patricia Mitchell.
On tonight's third of four specials featuring the impact on young carers of proposed changes in the law in England, we continue to explore the impact of the Department of Health-sponsored Draft Care and Support Bill. The search so far takes us in the direction of education. On the programme tonight, why the decision makers should be worried about the impact of the Draft Care and Support Bill on young carers, how the part played by adult social services could change under the bill, how young carers can find someone to trust, and why head teachers believe schools are becoming a safer and more open environment for all. Well, the proposed changes in the Care and Support Bill are said to be good news for grown-ups, bad news for those under 18 caring for parents, brothers or sisters. So is it a problem, or are campaigners missing the point? Patricia, you've been reading up on all this. What do you think?
I think, yes.
It was very quick. Do you care to expand on that?
However, it is more complicated than that. Basically, it's a complicated issue. It does seem to be overall very positive for adult carers in that their rights are way more established than they have been. This bill was all about clarifying and developing adult carers' needs, which in a way it has done, and it's really positive. It's good news. There is a problem for young carers, potentially, if this is not acknowledged and moved on, in my opinion. The real issue for young carers is that this has gone a long way into really helping clarify adult carers. There's a gap for young carers, and so what we want to explore is the consequences potentially of that gap if it is not taken care of. So good news, thumbs up for adult carers, potentially thumbs down for young carers.
Well, what you say here on carersworldradio.com, however you contribute to the programme, will be part of our contribution to the UK Department of Health consultation on the draft bill. Get involved, join in on our chat room at carersworldradio.com or email us on production@carersworldradio.com. Have your say, tell ministers and the decision makers what you think.
Well, because we really did feel that the gap, if you like, in this draft bill lay with the young carers, we thought it was very important for our listeners to understand exactly what young carers are up against. You may well already know, but it's always useful to have a reminder. And for those who don't know, we thought it was good to talk to a young carer. So on the line now, I've got Louise. Now, Louise, I know that you are a young carer. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello. Well, now tell me a little bit about when you first knew that you were what we would call a young carer. How did you get to know that you were technically a young carer?
When I was 11, I fully worked out that I was a young carer by my mum, as she told me, because I looked after my brother, who is disabled and can't walk, talk, or eat. But I didn't properly start getting involved with young carers until I was 14.
Right, so there was a period from about 11 you were helping out in the home with your sibling who is obviously severely handicapped. What sort of things was your mum saying to you about your role as a young carer?
She was saying to me that because of how I help out, that it was best to get me involved with young carers, and that it was like once they started getting more funding, that would mean I'd start going to groups to meet other young carers in my area.
Right,
and also the school to be able to find out that I was a young carer.
So it kind of worked on two levels. You got the sort of support both in the school environment, but also sort of socially, so that you could network with other young carers and not feel on your own.
Yeah.
So you said it wasn't until you were about 14 that it really started to kick in. And why was that, Louise?
Because I'd been changing schools and areas, so I didn't have a lot of time to be able to go into it and I wasn't able to go to things, and I was really scared to go to things. I didn't want to meet new people. But once I did it the first time, I wanted to keep going.
Right. And what's so scary about it? I mean, for the listeners that are listening to Carers World Radio who may well be carers or work in caring fields, they don't necessarily understand why it's so scary as a young person to sort of declare that you're a young carer and turn up to events or talk to people about it. What was your big concern?
My big concern was how people were going to judge me, because obviously when you're younger and you meet people the first time, you're quite relaxed and you can talk about everything. But when you're a young carer, you tend to hold everything in.
And do you feel that you need to hold it in? What is it that makes you feel that you need to hold it in? Are you sort of find it's all going to explode, or that just again like people just don't understand?
You don't feel like people understand. You also feel really scared that they're going to judge you and not want to talk to you because of that.
Right, and I mean, I remember at your age, one of my main motivators, if you like, is to fit in. So I completely understand what you're saying. But tell me a little bit about how life changed when you were 14 and you got involved with young carers, with regards to sort of working and dealing with and talking to people who shared some of the same experiences that you shared in their home life.
I got a lot of advice from other people my age, and not just advice from like adults, and also being able for people to help me that were they were a couple of years older than me, that could help me and help me manage my time between school and home.
So quite really just very practical ways of helping you get through your day and structure your day with your family and school and everything else.
Yeah.
So, if I was to say to you, if you were sort of standing up for young carers and you had to sort of say what it was like in terms of your experience before you had that support and once you had that support, what's the big difference? I mean, how's it changed things for you?
It's made me so much more confident. I'm able to speak openly to anybody that asks me about what's going on and why my brother is disabled. And also it's just that bit of being able to let yourself go and being able to have that other person on the end of the phone or by a text or a letter, being able to write to them to say and ask for help in what they did when they were in this situation.
Because I'm sure you absolutely love your brother to bits, but it must be quite a stressful situation to be in. So any help must be very welcome when you got to that stage of being able to allow it in.
Yeah, it was really helpful, and it took a lot of strain off of me, because even though I had the strain at home still, I had that weight lifted off of me because I was able to get help and speak to people.
And so if there's anybody listening to this that thinks that they know somebody who would fall into the category of young carer, but they're not necessarily asking for help, because we do understand it's a difficult process to put yourself through, what would you say to them in terms of asking for help and indeed talking to the government in terms of the help that they offer young carers? What would you say to them in terms of why it's so important that you get that understanding?
It really is important, because even if someone doesn't want to get involved with things, just having somebody being able to say to ring up somebody who is helping look after young people, and being able just to have a phone call for 5 to 10 minutes, it's so much more help than not having it, because you can just tell them what's going on, and if that went, then I think a lot of people would start to struggle again, because they wouldn't know who was a young carer in their area that is close to them that they could possibly meet up with, just to even relax for 5 minutes and be able to get advice and sort things out.
Well, Louise, thank you so much for so eloquently helping us explain to people who are listening exactly the sort of things that you're up against and why supporting you and giving you help is so important. We really appreciate it, because we know your time is precious as well, not just